What if there was a village where the road simply ends? A place standing at the edge of civilization, where towering Himalayan mountains rise like ancient guardians beyond the horizon. For centuries, travelers, pilgrims, traders, and explorers have passed through this remote settlement. Some arrived searching for answers.
Others came seeking adventure, and a few ventured beyond the mountains, chasing mysteries that remain unsolved even today. This is Mana,
often known as India's first village. But behind that simple title lies a story far more fascinating than most people realize. Because Mana is not merely a village, it is a gateway to forgotten roots.
Ancient legends, hidden histories, and mysteries that continue to
echo through the Himalayas. And the deeper we explore, the stranger the story becomes. High in the mountains of Uttarakhand, near the sacred town of Badrinath, stands a village unlike any other. Mana rests at an altitude of
more than 3,000 meters above sea level. The air is thinner here.
The winters are harsher, and nature constantly reminds people who is truly in control.
For months every year, heavy snow isolates the village from the outside world.
roads disappear beneath thick layers of ice. Temperatures drop dramatically. Yet despite these extreme conditions, generations of families have continued to call Mana home. How have they survived for so long in one of India's most challenging environments? The answer lies deep within the history of this remarkable village. Today, Mana appears peaceful and remote. But centuries ago, this quiet village was connected to a much larger world. Ancient trade routes once passed through these mountains. Merchants traveled across dangerous terrain, carrying wool, salt, herbs, and valuable goods. The journey was long. The risks were enormous. One wrong step on these mountain paths could prove disastrous.
Paths could prove fatal. Yet people continued making the journey. Because these routes connected distant regions and cultures long before modern roads existed. Even now, standing among these mountains, it is possible to imagine the footsteps of travelers who crossed this landscape hundreds of years ago. And perhaps some traces of their stories still remain.
Near Mana flows one of the region's most fascinating natural wonders,
The Saraswati River. Unlike many rivers that begin quietly,
this one emerges with incredible force. Water crashes through narrow, rocky passages, creating a roar that echoes across the valley. The sound is powerful, almost overwhelming. For generations, locals have lived alongside this river, listening to its endless voice, watching its relentless energy,
and preserving stories connected to its origins. Whether viewed through history,
geography, or tradition, The Saraswati River remains one of Mana's most remarkable features. A reminder of nature's extraordinary power. Among Mana's most famous landmarks stands a massive stone bridge known as Bhim Pul. Stretching across a deep gorge, it appears almost impossible. The river below rushes through the canyon with tremendous force. Yet above it rests a single enormous rock, connecting both sides.
Local traditions associate this bridge with one of India's most famous epic journeys. Generations have passed these stories from one era to the next.
Visitors arrive from around the world to witness the bridge for themselves.
And standing here, surrounded by mountains and the thunder of the river below,
it becomes easy to understand why this place has inspired imagination for centuries. Beyond Mana, the landscape changes dramatically. The roads begin to disappear.
the mountains grow steeper, and the wilderness becomes increasingly unforgiving.
This is where the known world slowly gives way to uncertainty. Weather conditions can change within minutes.
A clear sky can suddenly become a storm. Visibility can vanish. Paths can disappear. For generations, these mountains have inspired curiosity and caution in equal measure. Because beyond these peaks lies a world few people ever experience. And many mysteries remain hidden among the valleys beyond.
Not far from the village stands a place known as Vyas Gufa, a cave deeply connected to ancient traditions and storytelling. For countless visitors, this site represents more than stone walls and mountain scenery.
It symbolizes knowledge
memory,
and the preservation of stories across generations.
Long before books, computers, or digital archives existed, knowledge survived through spoken words.
Stories were remembered, repeated, and passed forward. And places like this became symbols of that tradition.
A tradition that continues even today.
Mana occupies a unique space between history and legend. Some people study the region through archaeology and documented evidence. Others understand it through local traditions and oral histories. Neither perspective tells the entire story alone. Together, they reveal a much richer picture.
A picture of a place where culture, geography, memory, and belief have shaped life for centuries.
And perhaps that combination is what makes Mana so fascinating. Every visitor sees something different.
Yet everyone leaves with the feeling that there is still more to discover.
Winter transforms Mana into an entirely different world. Snow covers rooftops, roads, and mountain slopes. Temperatures fall far below comfortable levels. The landscape becomes silent, powerful, and at times, unforgiving. Survival requires preparation, knowledge, and resilience.
Generations of residents have adapted to these conditions, learning how to live alongside nature rather than attempting to control it.
Their ability to endure such extreme environments remains one of the most remarkable aspects of life in Mana.
The true heart of Mana is not found in its mountains or landmarks, It is found in its people.
Families who have preserved traditions for generations. People whose lives remain.
Deeply connected to the land around them. Their knowledge of weather patterns, mountain routes,
Local customs and history has been passed from one generation to the next. Without these communities, Mana would simply be another location on a map. But because of them, it remains a living part of India's cultural heritage.
For centuries, the northern mountain routes beyond Mana have captured human imagination.
Travelers looked toward these peaks and wondered what lay beyond.
Some paths vanished beneath snow. Others changed with time. Many became increasingly difficult to access. The mountains protect their secrets well.
And perhaps that is why stories connected to this region continue to survive. Mystery often flourishes where certainty disappears.
And few places embody that idea better than the Himalayas.
India is home to thousands of villages. Yet very few occupy a location as extraordinary as Mana.
It stands between civilization and wilderness, between ancient traditions and modern exploration.
Between history and mystery, every path seems connected to a larger story. Every mountain appears to guard a forgotten secret, and every visitor eventually
discovers that Mana is far more than a destination. It is an experience.
Most visitors stop at the famous sign identifying Mana as India's first village. Photographs are taken, memories are created, and journeys continue. But the sign itself tells only a small part of the story.
the real story begins beyond it. In the rivers, the mountains, the traditions, and the people who continue to keep this remarkable place alive.
Because the true value of mana cannot be captured in a photograph. It must be experienced.
Perhaps the greatest secret of mana is that it refuses to be defined by a single identity. It is a village, a historical location, a cultural landmark, a gateway to exploration.
Every traveler discovers something unique here. Some find history, some find inspiration,
And some find mystery. But nobody leaves completely unchanged.
At first glance, Mana appears to be the last village before the mountains take over.
The final stop before the unknown begins. But after exploring its history, traditions,
Landscapes and stories, a different truth emerges. Mana is not an ending.
it is a beginning of discovery, a beginning of questions, and a beginning of journeys that continue far beyond the horizon.
Because some places are remembered for what they reveal.
But the most unforgettable places are remembered for what they leave unexplained.
And among the towering peaks of the Himalayas, Mana remains one of those places.
A village at the edge of the map, and a mystery that continues to inspire generations.